there was a time when there were like 5 main platforms and not everybody was on all of them, but you could easily be on all of them, right? And understand how they worked. And their algorithms generally changed about once a year, and they told you before they were going to change. That doesn't exist anymore. There are so many platforms. Sometimes I talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm on such and I'm like, I've never even heard of that. And I am in the marketing space that I keep on top of this. But there are right now more platforms than you can really keep up on. And unless you have a huge team doing this for you, it's impossible to be on all of them. Gary Vee, who I mentioned before, has 100 people who just work on his social media content. So yes, he is on every platform there is. Most of us don't have 100 people working for us. So you need to pick where you're going to be, because if you're trying just to be everywhere and you don't have a strategy and a marketing plan and you're running yourself ragged creating content, first of all, your content's not going to be as powerful, but also you're going to just be creating content and not building your business. You're not going to have time for those conversations. You're not going to have time for client work. You're not going to have time for networking and really thinking about your business and what it needs. You're just going to be putting out content fires nonstop. And you're going to exhaust yourself, get to the end of the week or the month, and realize that with all that work, it didn't benefit you at all. Because businesses need to make money. That's what businesses are for. So, so that's one thing to remember when tracking your numbers. So where do you really need to be? I always tell people you need to be where your people are. There are some people who are Facebook people. There are some people who are LinkedIn people. There are some people who are X or Twitter people. And yes, there's a million other platforms beyond that. But you also need to think of where you are as far as how it affects you showing up online. So I just met with a client last night and she said, when I search, or I have someone search the name of my business, my Facebook page always pops up. And I said, well, that's because Facebook pages will always outrank your website just because of the general traffic and, Facebook's presence online, that will always show up before your website unless you have a website that has tremendous amount of traffic. And even for people like Byron Golden or Russell Brunson, I feel very often their Facebook pages or other social media will come up before you see their website. And so that's a common occurrence. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your website. So you want to capitalize on those platforms that will show up in search. So Facebook pages will show up. So it's good to have a Facebook page, even though everybody complains that nobody sees my Facebook page. It's a branding exercise and it's a chance to be able to show up in that search. And also Facebook, the one thing they do great still is groups. So being able to network with people that are ideal clients, are in your space, would be great power partners. Facebook is still the best place to do that. Maybe at some point LinkedIn will figure out how to do it, but they don't do it very well. Someplace else that ranks well, though, is LinkedIn, because their articles still are open, meaning that if you create an article and it has the right SEO and somebody searches something, that article can come up in their feed even if they're not a LinkedIn member. They don't need to be on LinkedIn to find it. So this, again, helps you to show up online and build authority.